Hi, in this video I'm going to tell you how to play Florida Marbles, a game that my kids and I invented. We love board games, we love dice games, and we wanted a game that we could play with our extended family who live out of the state of Florida. We came up with this. It has worked really well even for video chat gaming. So if you want to get your own copy of it, go to our store, which is an Etsy shop called Me Branded, and I'll link to it in the description. So when you get your package from us, you'll get this drawstring canvas bag. And inside, you'll get 3 sets of instructions. When you purchase through our Etsy shop, I'll also give you a PDF so you can print additional copies as needed. And then you get these 6 translucent dice, yellow because we are the Sunshine State. All right, so we're going to use 1 set of instructions for this demonstration. I'll explain how to play, and I'll also demonstrate how gameplay would work. All right, so it will be easiest if you have your own copy of this and you can look at it while I'm explaining. So I'm going to be using this video to show you how these instructions will play out with certain dice combinations. Okay, so the object of the game is to be the first person to reach 10,000 points and be declared king or queen of the swamp. Who goes first? The person most recently in Florida or closest to Florida goes first. So if someone's been to Georgia and everybody else is in New York or California, then that person's closest. If you really want to get interesting with this, you can, if you're all sitting together and you're in, let's say, Ohio, you could see who is the most south in the room when you're playing the game. And so they're the closest to Florida, and they'd get to go first. But if you just want to do it the easier way, you can have everybody roll a die, and the one with the highest score on that die gets to go first. And then you would just go clockwise. Okay, during a player's turn, they roll all 6 dice, and they get to choose which ones they want to keep based on what counts. And we'll go over what counts in a minute. Then you can roll whatever ones don't count, and you can keep doing that. If everything counts, then we call that endless summer, and you'll get to roll all the dice again. If you roll all 6 dice and none of them count, then you got sunburnt, which unfortunately is an inevitable part of the Florida experience. Then, at the end of that player's turn, you write down their total score from everything they rolled during that turn, and you add it to what they've scored on the previous turns. And then you go to the next player, clockwise. Now, what counts? All right, 3s of a kind count. So in this right here, you'd have 3 6s. Any 3 of a kind counts. Also, if you had 4 of a kind, if I rolled this and it was 4 6s, then you'd get 4 of a kind here. 5 of a kind counts. 6 of a kind counts. The only single one that counts, like a single dice that counts, is a 1. The only pair of dice that counts are also 1s. So any other single, like a 3 or a 4 by itself, it will not count. There's not a full house or any other combination like that, but there is a full straight. So from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I had all these and I rolled them out and I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then that's a straight. If I got it in one roll. So a straight counts, and then 3s of a kind, 4s of a kind, 5s of a kind, 6 of a kind, 6s of a kind, and a single 1 and a pair of 1s. Now, some 3s of a kind, 4s of a kind, 5s of a kind are not good, and you do not want those. I'll explain more about that later. Let's look at the 1s for right now. If you have 1 1, it's worth 100 points. If you get 2 1s, that's called snake eyes.
and it's worth 500 points.
If you get a 3 of a kind, like let's say you got 3 4s, then your score is that number times 100, an individual die times 100. So 3 4s is worth 400.
3 5s would be worth 500, and so on. The only exception to this would be with 1s. So if you rolled 3 1s, then that would not be worth 100 because that's less than snake eyes. So you still get to count it as snake eyes for 500, and then the other one would be worth 100. So 500 plus 100 would be 600. So the score of 3 1s would be 600.
All right, then let's say 4 of a kind. So let's do 6s. So let's say I rolled that at once and I got 4 6s. Okay. Oh, this would also count. So let's just say it's this, just to make it simple right now. So how much are 4 6s? Well, any 4 of a kind is 1,000. So this would be worth 1,000. But there is an exception. 4 5s, like this, is the worst roll you can get in Florida marbles. 4 5s is a Category 5 hurricane. That makes you lose everything that you had scored for that turn and that you've had written down for the whole game. So we usually cross off the score and write hurricane underneath it, and that person has to start back at 0. Another exception to the 4 of a kind is if you get snake eyes, but also on the same roll, you had another snake eyes. So if you have 4 1s, then that's too many snakes, and that's snake season. Unfortunately, it's a real thing that we have. We call it snake season, and we have to be careful because there are multiple kinds of poisonous snakes here, and we get a lot of snake bites. So snake season means look very carefully when you're walking from your car to your house, or anytime you're in a parking lot or outside on a walk, or in your backyard. Yes, I've seen them there too. So snake season is bad. That makes you lose all of your points from that turn, but not all the points that were written down. So it's not as bad as a hurricane, of course, but it's not good either. So snake season means you lose all the points you had right then and your turn's over, but whatever was written down from previous turns, you still get to keep.
Okay, so next is 5 of a kind. Okay, it's getting harder and harder. So if you got 5 of a kind, let's do 2s this time. So if you rolled 5 2s, like all at once, you got 5 2s, then that would be worth 3,000. And all 5 of a kinds are worth 3,000. So if you got 5 1s, it's worth 3,000. 5 4s, it's worth 3,000. And there's not any exceptions to this, so nothing bad happens if it's a different kind of 5 of a kind. All 5 of a kinds are 3,000. It's pretty rare to get this, but it does happen. It's not as rare as 6 of a kind. So how do you score 6 of a kind? All right, 6 of a kind of any number is going to get you 5,000. So let's see what that looks like with 5s.
All right. So if you got all 5s, if you threw it down and in one roll, if everything was the same number, then you get 5,000 points, and you only need 10,000 to win. So getting 6 of a kind in one roll, you're halfway to winning. But there's one exception to this. The highest score you can possibly get in this whole game is 6 6s. So just like it's the highest number of dice that can be rolled, if you added up all the face values, it also gets you the highest score in the game. So when we were trying to think of what to call 6 6s, we thought, what's something that's extremely rare that Florida has to offer? And we decided a theme park vacation. So that's the name of this roll, theme park vacation. It gets you 10,000 points and you're an instant winner.
I've only seen 6 sixes once in my life, so it is extremely rare. Just like having a theme park vacation, it's probably a once in a lifetime experience.